Hello everyone, Dr. Suneel, Dhand, internal medicine physician. Welcome to another video. Well, I wanted to make this video this morning. I'm on my way into the hospital and I wanted to pull over because we had some fantastic news last night and I had to share it in this video. It's very cold in this part of the United States where I am, so hopefully my car doesn't get too cold while I pulled over and switched the engine off. But the news absolutely delighted me and made me feel very warm and fuzzy indeed. Because last night, President-elect Trump announced that Dr. Jay Bhattacharya is going to be the head of the NIH, the National Institutes of Health of the United States. This is absolutely huge news because the head of the NIH has a lot of power. And those of you who know Dr. Bhattacharya from what he's done over the last few years and the brave stances he has taken will know why this is big news. Actually, this follows a series of very positive announcements when it comes to health and well-being, which is my area of interest. RFK Jr. as the Health and Human Services Secretary, a man who can really shake things up. And boy, do we need things shaken up in a field which is full of corruption and conflicts of interest. Really needs a complete cleanup, including our toxic food environment. Then we had Dr. Marty Makary as head of the FDA, another independent critical thinker. Very positive about him being in that position. I'm less enthusiastic about the new US Surgeon General, as I spoke about recently, but who knows, maybe she will prove us wrong. But Dr. Jay Bhattacharya as head of the NIH, the biggest public health research organization in the world, which has an enormous budget, is an absolutely huge deal. Those of you who have been following Dr. Bhattacharya over the last few years will know how brave and courageous he is, especially as someone who is in academics. He spoke up from the very beginning against the enormous harms of lockdowns, mandates being unethical, and also certain concerns about the shots. Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, what a man. Now just imagine how far we have come over the last 3 years. Only 3 years ago, many of us were faced with coercive, unethical, and also illegal mandates. And many very high up in the US public health infrastructure, I should call it industry, were absolutely relentless in piling upon Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, including Mr. Fauci himself. There were lots of internal emails that have since been released labeling Dr. Jay Bhattacharya as a fringe scientist, as a quack, somebody who's not to be listened to. They absolutely refused to even listen to his logical arguments. They wanted to totally discredit him, and the entire medical industrial complex was quite relentless in that. But he stood firm. He is a man of immense courage, bravery, personal integrity, and he's also a very kind soul indeed. I've followed him for many years, and this is absolutely wonderful news that he is going to be in that top position. None of us who lived through that time will ever forget the darkness of that time. Only 3 years ago. It wasn't that long ago. Perhaps it's fate that I'm making this video in my car again. Many of you who have followed me for some time will remember that my initial videos, many of you started following me during that time, were filmed in my car when I was debating what to do, when I knew that there was a medical intervention which was unfairly, unethically being forced on me. I didn't want it, I knew I didn't need it, and I was concerned about certain risks. I didn't want to expose myself to a novel technology like mRNA. And I was in a position myself where I was willing to leave my job. I would have even left the country rather than sacrifice my personal health autonomy. And people like Dr. Jay Bhattacharya were a rarity and a source of inspiration for me, seeing them on the news every single night. Novak Djokovic is another example. In fact, I remember a couple of years ago, I think it was New Year of 2022, where I said that my two heroes for the year were Dr. Jay Bhattacharya and Novak Djokovic. But it was a rarity to find people in the arena of medicine and science, in academia, who were willing to stand up, to show courage, to stand away from groupthink, to get away from what I call the academic mob, totally brainless, crazy people who just parrot whatever they are told. Dr. Jay Bhattacharya was one of those people. And isn't it total karma now that he is going to be the NIH director, the boss of many of the people who are trying to discredit him? Now, he's a very kind man. I'm sure he won't be vindictive or want revenge, as tempting as that will be. Just think, he is now going to be in charge. A man who stood firm, a brave and courageous individual, and someone who's an independent critical thinker and wants everything to be about real, transparent science. He's far from being corrupted like so many of our leaders over the last few years. What an amazing development. We have come full circle. But let's not underestimate the enormous pushback that these gentlemen now at the top, Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, RFK Jr., Dr. Marty Makary, are going to face from the medical industrial complex. And I'm sad to say many top doctors, as well as the usual culprits, big pharma, big food, they don't want the situation to change. They don't want the population to be healthy. How are they going to make money if people are healthy? They want to keep the status quo. They want to keep people plugged into the medical industrial complex. And they certainly don't want independent critical thinkers at the top. So the fight is only just beginning, but this nomination restores my faith in humanity and real transparent science. But for now, whatever lies ahead, let's celebrate this win over Thanksgiving. And I'm working, as usual, over Thanksgiving in the hospital. In fact, since I came to the United States, I've always volunteered to work on Thanksgiving, because the truth is, before I came here, I didn't even know what Thanksgiving was. So I always let my colleagues be off, and I say that I will work over the Thanksgiving holiday. My one condition always is that I'm off over Christmas, because I go back home to the United Kingdom every single Christmas. But I'm very happy working over Thanksgiving. And for me, it's a great Thanksgiving present knowing that people like Dr. Jay Bhattacharya are soon to be in charge. And it's also a great Thanksgiving present to know, as I've been hearing, that lots of these top doctors who are heavily corrupted, all of these pharma executives, big food executives, are right now going into a complete tailspin. I hear that they're holding emergency meetings because they don't know what to do. They're very concerned that people who actually care about health and well-being are going to be in charge. So well done, Dr. Jay Bhattacharya. There is hope for the future. Thanks everyone for watching. Dr. Suneel Dhand. Do check out the links in the description below to find out about all the other work that I do. I wish you all a very happy Thanksgiving.